This is Professor Valerie Pell at Wilbur Wright and Harold Washington Colleges. In this video, we're going to go over your Week 6 overview of your English 102 12-week mini session. So at this point in the semester, we have reached midterm. I can't believe we're already here, but here we are. And so this week, what you're going to be doing is finishing up your research and compiling your research, and you're going to be giving the last bit of feedback to your peers in solidifying your learning of the works cited. Citation, and you're also going to be learning some new content about logical fallacies and propaganda techniques, which will help you in recognizing those fallacies out in your research and also out in the world. So, like all weeks, to begin, let's check out the activity schedule. So here we are in week 6. You're already doing the first thing, which is watching the week 6 overview. Then the next thing you should do, you should continue doing research, 3 or more sources, if needed. Some of you might have completed all of your research by this week since we've been doing it for several weeks. Some of you who are behind might need to do some more. And then you should go to the readings folder in content and read the McClintock propaganda techniques. And then in the readings folder, look at the logical fallacies lecture. Then in They Say, I Say, read chapters 7 and 8. Okay, so for our graded activities, the first thing we need to do is Peer Mark 6. Okay, so let's take a look at Peer Mark 6. Peer Mark 6, we're ending our peer mark feedback of the annotated bibliography. So you're not adding anything new to the peer mark this week. There is not actually in content a peer mark 6. The peer mark 6 activity is to go back to peer mark 5 and give feedback to 2 of your peers. Make sure when you're doing this that you're giving full answers to the 2 guiding questions at the end. This is really an important tool for you because this is how you're really learning to use your handbook and giving feedback to your peers. So make sure that you go back to Peer Mark 5 to give feedback to your peers by Friday of this week. Friday at 11:59 is the cutoff. And that's because your peers need some feedback on those last couple of citations of theirs to put into the high stakes assignment, which is the assignment 6, which is the final draft of the annotated works cited or annotated bibliography that we're completing. So this week for Peer Mark is just giving feedback. So make time to get that done sooner rather than later. Okay, so let's take a look at the schedule. What else do we have to do? All right, I just mentioned the A6, your annotated bibliography or works cited final draft. So let's take a look at that. If you are doing research this week, those new sources will go into this assignment. Okay, so this assignment is pretty much what we've been doing all along. You are compiling your works cited entries with the summaries and the CARS evaluation. Now, make sure the first week that we did this, there was no CARS evaluation for those sources. So make sure that you go back and look at those sources and add in the CARS evaluation for all of the sources. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to compile all of your sources so far into one document. Okay, and make sure that each one is labeled accordingly as I've been trying to get you to do. A lot of you, this has been one of the things that's been scoring you down is that you've not been using your Little Seagull handbook. You have not been labeling which source type you're using to model your entry afterwards. Then list the MLA works cited entry with a hanging indent. give the summary of 50 to 100 words, and then evaluate using the CARS test. Make sure you have gone back using the feedback you've received from your peers to edit those works cited entries. A lot of you are still not using that feedback and are just doing any kind of entry that you want. You can't make up a citation style. You need to learn MLA. So make sure that you're editing those. Be very careful. Everything matters. Where you put the period, if something is underlined or not underlined, that you remove the blue hyperlinks. All of those things matter. And this really matters. The sequencing of your entries. Do not submit the final draft to me with your entries in the order that you submitted them originally. They need to be alphabetized by the first word of the entry. Okay, so whatever that first word is of the entry, very often it might be the author's last name, or maybe it's the title of the film. Whatever that first word is of the entry, that's how you're going to sequence your entries. Okay, so alphabetize, alphabetize, alphabetize. Don't use bullet points. Don't do any other sequencing method, but alphabetize by the first word of the entry. Okay, and then also make sure that you adhere to the mandatory paper formatting for this course. We've been doing this now for 6 weeks. I expect it to be the correct formatting. All classes are moving online, so it makes reading things online even more difficult for me and my eyesight. So you need to adhere to the mandatory paper formatting. If you had an ADA accommodation, I would accommodate you. So I expect you to be respectful to me and accommodate me by using the correct formatting. Okay, so this is a high stakes assignment. This is probably worth the most points out of anything we've done so far. And so this is what I'm actually grading you on your skills with MLA. So spend time going line by line on those works cited entries and to try to get it as correct as possible. Okay. All right. And then there's a quiz this week on the logical fallacies. And if you are behind, you can still submit the final draft of your research proposal by Tuesday at 11:59 and the week 5 quiz by 11:59. Remember, with that research proposal, what's really important to me is that your topic is a noun phrase that correctly identifies what you're going to be writing about. If you've been writing about food waste the whole time, then the topic of your thesis should not be people should stop having food waste. People is not an arguable topic. Your topic is food waste, okay? Food waste should be dramatically reduced, would be your topic claim pair, right? Food waste would be your topic, should be dramatically reduced would be your claim, and then your reasons might be the first one might be for environmental reasons, and the second reason might be because of ethical reasons. So make sure that that is very specific and pared down. We're overthinking it. Many of you need to really zero in and say exactly what you mean, not go beyond the very focus. And if your claim is should be dramatically reduced, the counter argument would be exactly opposite that should not be dramatically reduced. So I will accept all of these up until Tuesday. If you want to make a revision to that, feel free. Just if you've already submitted it and now you're hearing this and you're like, oh goodness, I wish I could fix that. You can just email me. I'll delete your original and you can revise up until Tuesday. Okay. I think that's it for this week. If you have any other questions, feel free to contact me by email. I'm always here to help. Have a wonderful day.